Welcome to the College Admissions Process Podcast presented by Prep Expert. Prep Expert offers live online SAT and ACT courses with the best score guarantees, instructors, and curriculum. Go to prepexpert.com to guarantee your child's success. I'm also excited to share my book, Straight from the Admissions Office, a review of my biggest takeaways from the first few hundred podcast episodes. It's packed with direct insights from admissions professionals and practical tips to help students and their families navigate the college admissions process. You can find all of the information in the show notes. Welcome to The Cap, where we are here to speak with college reps and other professionals in the field of college admissions to help answer all your questions and guide you through every step of the process. So if you're serious about college admissions, you've come to the right place. Are you ready? Let's talk about it. And now, here's your host, Dr. John Durante. Welcome to The Cap, the College Admissions Process Podcast. I am your host, John Durante, and it gives me great pleasure to continue this series where I'm interviewing students who finished at least their first year of college just to gain insights in terms of what they did when going through the college admissions search themselves, but also would they do anything different? Do they have any advice for students, parents, and counselors that are listening? So it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you today Josh, who is originally from California. He's a student at UC Irvine. Josh, I can't thank you enough for being here today. How are you?
I'm good, John. Thank you for inviting me on. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
It's my honor and pleasure. So Josh, let's start with a quick introduction. For example, where are you from and which high school did you attend? Where are you currently enrolled and what year are you entering in college?
So I'm just like you said from California. I'm in NorCal. For high school, I attended Monte Vista, and currently I'm enrolled at UCI, and I'm in my second year now.
Fantastic. And Josh, looking back at your high school experience, when did you begin seriously thinking about the college search process?
So I actually started like really thinking as a freshman. I think about 3 months into high school. But I thought about it so much where I was actually very overwhelmed with it. Like I remember just like one night I was like kind of crying to my parents about it. Like, where am
Hmm.
I going to go? How am I going to get in? Like, what does that process look like? Um, because like I'm the oldest of three boys, so I like didn't really have anyone to really talk to about it. So I kind of just dropped it up until the beginning of my junior year when I really started thinking about it again.
Well, so you're the oldest of three boys, and so you really didn't have any sibling to compare the process to. So did you work, Josh, with a school counselor or a private counselor, or did you manage the process totally on your own with your family?
So since both of my parents did go to college, I obviously talked to them a little bit about it. But to actually work on my own application, I worked with a private college counselor who helped me like kind of get all my ideas together in for the essays.
Well, that's terrific. Could you elaborate more? What was that like? How often did you meet with the private counselor? Was it worthwhile? What advice would you give in terms of whether or not to work with a private counselor based on your experience, Josh?
For me, I would say I'm not an amazing writer. I'm okay, I can do it, but working with a private counselor was very helpful in that they really helped me like think about moments in my life that I could turn into a whole story, like moments that didn't seem super significant to me. They just really helped me like think more on that, like how I grew, like what was I like before that happened and what was I like after that happened. Because that's one thing I would say too is that colleges like to see growth and progress. Um, and then in terms of meeting and working with them, I'd be emailing them back and forth whenever I'd be writing my essays. Usually it'd take like a day or two to um, just communicate back and forth, but they'd have in-person meets once a week that I'd always go to.
Well, I appreciate that. And I love how you talked about they gave you the advice to talk about something related to you and how you grew from it. Because we learned in the podcast episodes that the essay, it's really important that the college admissions rep on the other side who's reading it gets the essence in terms of who you are as a person, how you grew. You want to add something in that essay that is not easily found on a transcript or an activity sheet. So I was also curious, at what point in time were you in 10th grade? In other words, when did you start working with the private counselor?
I began working with her, I believe, the second semester of my junior year. That's when I started like working on, or at least looking at the essay prompts. And then yeah, that's when I met up with her and started kind of jotting down ideas.
That's great. And looking back, would you say that that's the right time for you, right? We're speaking obviously about you, Josh, but was that the right time for you to start working with the private counselor?
Yes, for me, yes, I believe so, because I definitely needed time to really think about what I wanted to write.
Terrific. We appreciate that. And what were the most important factors to you when choosing where to apply, such as was it the size of the college, the location, campus vibe, majors, or was it something else, Josh?
For me, it's kind of hard to say for me, but like I guess I really didn't believe in myself, so I was kind of happy like at least getting into college. Um, like I, did sports, I did academics, I did extracurriculars, but even still, that felt like it wasn't enough. So I was kind of just happy getting into college. And then obviously making the top three list, like I, for me, it was really location and then also campus vibe because it is where you're going to spend like the next 4, 5, 6 years of your life. Like you obviously you'll be able to come back home and everything, but you'll be there more often than you are at home. So for me, from my perspective and my experience, definitely location was a big deal. And then like how well I felt about the school and felt living there.
Well, I appreciate that. And you mentioned the top three list. So, what were your top three schools, Josh? And did you ultimately get accepted to all of them?
Um, so my top three was actually UCI at number one, Cal Poly, and then USC. So obviously, yes, I did get into UCI. So I'm actually very proud of myself and very grateful for that. And then with Cal Poly and USC, I just got rejected, but it's okay. I'm glad I at least got into one.
Absolutely okay. And you are exactly where you were meant to be. And I was also curious how many schools, Josh, did you actually visit? And how did those visits influence your final decision?
So in terms of schools I visited, I actually don't remember the exact number because what I did is with me, my mom, a family friend, and their mom, the four of us, we got in a car because we're from NorCal. We drove down to SoCal and then we visited like every major school, making our way back up to NorCal. So like we did all the UCs, we did San Diego State, we did Cal Poly, we did USC, some of the other privates. So in terms of the exact number I visited, I can't tell you that. I'm sorry, but definitely getting like an idea of what the actual campus looked like and kind of walking around, getting a feel for it, seeing how the current students would interact with each other and then staff and kind of how they were like living their lives on campus. So I feel like actually being on the campus can definitely determine like where you want to go. Because for me, I wasn't really thinking at USC at all until I actually got on campus. And you're like the tours can help as well because you could see more than you would just walking around. So if you're able to do tours, I recommend doing tours, but at least being on campus can already do much more than just trying to see it on the screen.
Well, I think that's great advice. And, many students, because of distance, maybe it is because of the expense, depending on how far the school is, many students can't necessarily visit before they apply to the school. But a word of advice, it's really important to try to visit before matriculating because you really can't get that vibe, as Josh is describing, in terms of meeting professors in person or talking to other students that are there before you to really get the essence of that school community. So, again, if you can't visit before applying, it's important to visit before you matriculate, if at all possible. Now, Josh, I was curious also in terms of distance, how far is UC Irvine from your hometown? And was distance a major consideration for you, and how so?
Distance was a little bit of a consideration, just because I've been where I live like all my life, if that makes sense. Like I've been here all my life.
Sure.
So I kind of wanted to get away. Not in any bad way. Like I don't want to be far from my parents, far from my home, but I definitely wanted to take the opportunity to explore, see what else is outside just the little bubble of my town that I call home. Because actually, I originally was going to UCSC because I was waitlisted at UCI. So I was happy going to UCSC, because one, because it's where my parents went, and then I'm also familiar with the campus. But as soon as I got off the waitlist to UCI, like there was not really a second thought in my head because
Hmm.
it's like more of it's it's a chance to kind of get away because Santa Cruz is fairly close to where I'm from, and UCI, Irvine itself, or even SoCal is just I'm not extremely familiar with the area, so distance did play a little bit of a factor in where I finally ended up going.
Well, we appreciate that. When we were talking earlier about your essay, we talked about the importance of showing growth in whatever it is that you wrote about. And that's the same thing here. Sometimes we tend to forget that when we go to college, we don't stop growing. So, for many students, as you described, actually going away from home, going out of your element to experience new people and a new environment really does help you with that growth. So, Josh, if you could go back and redo the college search, what's something you would have done differently or considered more carefully now that you've had time to reflect upon it?
Yeah, I definitely would like have done not necessarily more research, but I guess better research, like figure out specifically what I want to know. Because I was kind of going around just seeing what the colleges were like, not like all the surface level stuff, like what does it take to get in, or like how do the current students like it there. But I guess I would try to figure out like why do I want to go there? Because we spend all this time like thinking how can I make myself look better overall, like my fellow classmates or peers to get in there? But do I really want to actually go there, or am I just doing it just because everyone else is? So I would say I would have spent more time figuring out if like I personally even wanted to go because I felt like I wasted a little bit of time applying to colleges that in the end I didn't even really want to go, whether I got in or not. So spend more time thinking about like, do you actually want to go there? Where do you go? Don't just go there because like your friends are going or like the majority of people from your school are going. Figure out what you want and where you see yourself living.
Yeah, it's definitely a very reflective process. And I know that you touched upon talking to current students that are there. So you just finished your first year at UC Irvine. So, what advice would you give students if they came to you trying to figure out if UC Irvine is the right fit for them? What are the types of things that you would share about your school with them?
It's a very good research school, which is something I actually didn't know until actually attending. So if research is something big on like big for you, like yeah, I recommend it. It's really good. Also that it's a very, I guess, kind of bit like enclosed campus because if you haven't seen the campus before, it's the main campus is in the shape of a circle, and then it goes around what we call Aldrich Park, where it's just a big grass area for us to like hang out and do events. So if you like things close, then I recommend it. So everything's like within a 20-minute walk, like all the classes are within a 20-minute walk of each other. And then if you want to like explore a little more, um, having some sort of mobility like car, bus, if you want to go beyond just the campus overall, because everything is really close to it. So
Understood. And you touched upon so many great things, Josh. I was curious, what's something you wish someone had told you during your college search that you now understand far better?
for the college search, you're not the only one struggling. Like I spent so much time
Hmm.
thinking I was behind, like I wasn't doing enough. But trust me, like if you're doing well in school, if you've got at least one other extracurricular, like you're doing great. Like, because I'm sure you've heard the saying, like there's always someone out there doing much more than you. But on the flip side of that, there's also someone out there who's always doing much less. So just be proud of like what you're doing. Just take it one step at a time. Like there's really no need to rush it. And really just take some time to yourself to just sit, think it out, work with your parents, work with people you trust, private counselor. Like just really take some time on this, especially if this is important to you, because college may not be for you, and you might realize that. And if you don't want to go to college or you don't think that is for you, then take some time and think about it.
Well, I think that's great advice. And listen, this has been a tremendous conversation. I could tell that you're very reflective in terms of what you've gone through with your own process. And again, finishing 1 year at UC Irvine so far. Is there a question, Josh, that I haven't asked you throughout this conversation that you wish I had? Or perhaps is there a topic that just didn't come up in the conversation that you'd like to share with our listeners now? And be mindful that our listeners are students, families, their parents, and college counselors themselves.
Yeah, I guess the topic is I know I spoke a little bit about it before, but kind of a question I even asked myself was am I doing enough, or like do I have enough to talk about? Because going through the application, like writing everything out that I did extracurricular wise, academically, um, I didn't feel like I had a whole lot to put on my application or even to talk about. But even if you're just doing well in school, like that's something already right there you can talk about. Like what motivates you to keep doing it? Is it you want to make your parents proud? Do you have other people you need to make proud? Do you need to be a role model to younger siblings, friends? Um, and if that's a very like major question, like you're maybe overthinking about or stressing about, am I doing enough? Just accept that, okay, if you don't think you're doing enough, just accept that and then start and move on from that question and start asking yourself, what can I do now? Because it's never too late to start something new. I know colleges, and I'm sure you've heard, colleges do like to see consistency and growth, but part of growth is trying something new, seeing if it's a fit for you or not. So just don't worry about the time. Just start now, literally now. Like if you have something you want to do after listening in on this podcast, just like if you want to play the guitar, pick up the guitar and start strumming, right? Like that's actually how I started playing the ukulele. So
That's awesome. That is awesome. And you said so many great things. First of all, you talked about it's not too late to start something now. But another thing that I want to point out, and I was thinking it, I knew I was going to say it, but you said it as well. You mentioned not so much to worry about how large the list is, how short the list is, but students, if you look at what it is that you're doing, even if you're doing one activity, maybe you're doing two activities, what motivates you? Why are you doing it? So many students, they list 10, 15 activities, and many of the college representatives talk about how they could see through the fact that there's not much substance there. Rather, it's just a list of things that you've done over your 4 years of high school. But if you have two things, three things, whatever it is, and it really motivates you, and you're able to convey in your application why you're doing it, that's something that I think is going to stand out far more than just having a list of activities that you participated once in 10th grade and maybe you did something twice every 2 months in 11th grade or whatever it is. So I appreciate you saying that, Josh. Anything more that you want to add in terms of that?
not really. It's really just it is a hard process. So
Hmm.
it can be very stressful. But again, like the earlier you start, like the more time you can afford to spend on it. So just even if it's especially for the essays, like what someone once told me is that if you're struggling actually writing stuff and it is overwhelming, like you need to make a whole essay out of just a couple moments from your life, just do one sentence a day. Like that's
Right.
all you need to do. Like getting started is the hardest part.
Well, I think that's great advice. And this has been an awesome conversation, Josh. I thank you again for your time. Unfortunately, it does lead us to that last question. And although you gave a lot of piece of advice, the question is, what is your biggest piece of advice for high school students and their families just beginning that thing we call the college journey?
Um, my advice, well, obviously take it take it slow. Um, take your time because it is a big deal. It is a big decision. Um, so definitely don't rush it and don't, I know I said it before, but don't like I guess think the same way other people are doing it. Like think about it in your own way, like your own story, because in the end, it really is from your perspective. Like, what have you done? How have you grown? Why do you want to do what you want to do? Um, and like, if you don't really know what you want to do, you could at least figure out what you don't want to do. So that's probably the biggest thing I have to say about that. Or even like if you don't know what to pursue, just focus on pursuing yourself, make yourself the best person you can possibly be, and then the opportunities will show themselves down the road.
Well, that's a great piece of advice. Don't think of how other people are doing it, this thing we call the college process, because if you do, you're going to start sounding like a lot of other people. And we know that many schools have a very competitive application pool. And if you sound like everybody else, just because you think you know what a college admissions rep wants to read, you're not going to stand out in a competitive application pool. But if you make it about you, which is exactly what you should do, you hopefully will stand out and hopefully will get acceptances. And by the way, if a school doesn't accept you, don't forget that there's over 4,000 colleges and universities in the United States alone, students. And so there's more than one school that's the right fit for you, but not every school is. So just keep that in mind. Be reflective in the process, try to enjoy it. And Josh, thank you so much for sharing your time, your expertise. I wish you continued success at UC Irvine and beyond. Thank you so much, Josh.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad I could help.
You absolutely did. And to everyone out there, good luck with the college search. Take care, all, and best wishes.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of The CAP, the College Admissions Process Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please don't forget to tell a friend and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. I am your host, John Durante, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of The CAP.
Thank you for listening to the College Admissions Process Podcast presented by Prep Expert. Prep Expert offers live online SAT and ACT courses with the best score guarantees, instructors, and curriculum. Go to prepexpert.com to guarantee your child's success.